Awesome Review, and today we're looking at the Star Wars Vintage Collection, Star Wars The Clone Wars, Mandalorian Airborne Trooper. One of the latest troopers that we've gotten for the Mandalorian, I was going to say series, but it's not the Mandalorian series, but in terms of Mandalorians, we have the Airborne Trooper, and I actually really like this figure. It's not a reuse of the Death Watch Trooper we had just gotten earlier this year. He's in a slightly different body. Now, to be fair, I am missing a few different figures throughout the line. I'm just kind of getting into it more this year than the last few years with the vintage collection stuff. So if he's reusing another body from, let's say, one of the clone troopers or anything like that, I can't say, but I will say again that he is on a different body than the Death Watch one we got earlier this year. And again, I will be doing a little comparison in a moment here so you guys can check that out. But yeah, I picked this up at my local shop and he does look really cool. I do want to get a few of them because I just really like the armor. I mean, I'm sure everybody really likes the armor of these guys, and just having a nice army of them, it's just fun. I don't know how it's fun, but something in my brain tells me when I pick up this guy and when I pick up multiple of these figures, my brain is like, yeah, this is fun. That's addiction, folks. But anyways, this figure does come with a few accessories, including his jetpack, obviously, 2 blasters, plus this other longer blaster, which, sorry, I don't know why, but Star Wars weapons names they don't compute. So yeah, at least you guys get to see weapons that he comes with, and it is cool to have them. I will say when it comes to the vintage collection, I do think Hasbro knows what they're doing a little bit more than what they are with the Black Series and everything. This is probably my new, I wouldn't say favorite line, but it's definitely my new main line when it comes to Star Wars figures. I may pick up the new Leia from Black Series. It's based on the comic book look, even though it's a little bit off. I kind of want it because I really like the comic book. But aside from that, I feel like I'm going to be sticking with vintage collection stuff. I don't think I've actually done Star Wars figures on here, at least not in a very long time. I know I did the ships not too long ago, but yeah, taking a quick closer look at the figure itself, it is really nice. I do like how clean the little metallic parts on his armor are painted and everything. We do have some really nice, really shiny blasting silver dry brushing throughout the body, which again, just the shininess of it looks really good. Maybe a little too good, maybe a little too clean, but it's really nice looking. The jetpack, nothing we haven't seen before, looks good. He does have it attached in the packaging, and it is pegged in there. You can see the little straps right there on the back and everything, so you can't take it off, put it back on. He is a little bit back heavy compared to the other ones. Not that you can't get him to stand, like, you know, right there, but when it came to having him stand compared to all my other Mandalorian-esque figures, he's definitely the one that wanted to fall over the most. I just wanted to put that out there, but it's not too difficult. As for a closer look at his blaster, you can see it is really nice. Very plain in color detail and everything. You can hold it with 2 hands. Not really anything to say about that. Just going to put it aside for now. Nowhere to holster it on the body, unfortunately, but he does have it. He does have the other 2 blasters that can go into his sides right here, but I don't know, like, they are very snug, which is good because you don't want them to fall down, but because of the way they're made, where we have like this little gap right there, I don't know, I sometimes feel like I'm gonna end up ripping them or something while I'm trying to just put them in or take them out. Especially, I think it's this one of them felt kind of loose to me, in the sense of like, yeah, I feel like I'm gonna rip it at some point. So I wish they were a little bit harder, not so rubbery, but they do fit in there, they do the job. So, you know, it is what it is. Anyways, feature-wise, he does have his antenna that comes down right here, so we can aim on everything, fire your missile, whatever you want, which is always a nice bonus. His head is on a ball joint, so there is no face under it or anything like we would get with the Black Series or even some of the clone troopers or anything like that. It is just a mask, which is fine because it would have to be an individual person if you were taking it off. So for generic reasons, works fine, no complaints there. And yeah, again, detail-wise, the figure just looks really good. All the paint on it is really clean. The symbol on his chest looks really nice. So does the one on the right arm. The little orange on the helmet, the colors on it, I really like them. They're darker, it's a nicer blue, different than the Death Watch troopers we have before. I don't know. Just something about this figure makes me like his aesthetic a little bit more than the last one we got from the Mandalorian series. A few other things to note before we get into articulation. The middle part here is a nice shiny silver. Again, in the light you can really see it. Hopefully you can see it on camera as well. The little gauntlet part here on his left arm is a nice very metallic looking silver as well. So paint apps, A+ on this guy. I don't actually even see any real paint issues either. So they did an amazing job with this figure. We do have the little gauntlet thing with the little tubes coming out. I'm sure there's a real name for it. I'm sorry, again, when it comes to names of things in Star Wars, like weapon-wise. Even though I've seen all of the Clone Wars episodes, I've seen all of the movies, I've seen all the shows, names, yeah, sorry. It happens. Can only retain so much information, maybe. I don't know. But I will say that the articulation on him was done cleverly, because it would have been really easy for them to kind of limit his right arm, considering we have these tubes coming in here compared to his left one. But that's not what happened here. So we're going to start off with the arm, which we can lift up all the way like so. Thankfully, the armor parts here are attached to his little neck armor right there, so they can fold up. They are a nice rubbery material, so they go up and down. They don't really get in the way, which again is really nice. It's a good bonus. You can't actually take it off. I think it is slightly attached, glued down or something. Almost looks like you could take it off. Not that you would want to unless you want to customize. If you want to customize, I'm sure you can take it off, fill in the gaps and everything, but yeah, done really well. So it doesn't limit his arms at all. We get a good amount of range there. We can rotate the arm all the way around. Again, the armor does get out of the way. And what I was saying about the elbow here is that we can bend it forward to 90 degrees. Same with the other one. Maybe just a little bit more on this one. Maybe. No, that's a little bit over 90 degrees. So yeah, basically the same there. What I like is they made the cut on the right arm a little bit higher. So it's above the tubes. The tubes are going technically under that little sleeve part, so he can rotate his arm without the tubes getting in the way. And same with the arm over here, where the actual articulation on him is the elbow instead of the sleeve. His is the sleeve instead of the elbow. Kind of wish they did it above on the sleeve on this one too, just for consistency, but it's not really an issue. You're not really going to notice it. I do think it's clever that they went with that. Like it, again, just kind of weird to me they didn't do it on the other one, but I mean, why have to redesign an entire thing when you don't really have to? So there's that. As for head movement, you can't really look up too much. You can look down really well, look left, look right. You can pivot side to side really well. I do wish we had a little bit more of an up movement, especially with characters with jetpacks. I mean, I know when they fly, they're usually upwards, looking down and everything. I still wish you could look forward just a little bit more than he can. Aside from that, head movement is great. Body movement, left, right, can lean back a little bit, can lean forward a little bit, pivot side to side. Again, the back and forward, especially the forward, could be a little bit better. You can kind of push it, but it does kind of just tend to bounce back. Yeah, it's not bad. Again, especially for the size, honestly, really good. I'm glad that we do have the pivoting side to side and the rotation. Again, just wish that forward was a little bit better, but it's hard to complain, especially for the price point and everything. Kind of. I mean, vintage collection figures have gone up to about $15, so, you know, we're getting close to like mainline prices, which is a little bit disappointing. My only real issue with Hasbro is the fact that these are raising up. I know inflation and all that, but still kind of disappointing. Anyways, leg can kick up that much, can go back that much, can go out that much. The gun does start to fold up, as you can see. Rotation at the upper thigh. Single jointed knee. It does just a little bit over 90 degrees. Not bad at all. We do have angle that can go forward, back really well. Then we have a little bit of a pivot right there. So articulation isn't bad. Honestly, I really like the figure. I think it's really solid in the sense of articulation, the sense that they got the paint done right. They went above and beyond with the arm, because let's face it, I think in the past Hasbro would have just limited his arm articulation and not given us any movement there if they had to, but they did make it so it was more accommodating. I'm sure other figures probably have it, but this is, again, my first time messing with this one. I don't have the Boba Fett to kind of compare or anything of the vintage collection ones, the newer ones. So, you know, I don't know if it's reusing a different body or not, but I did want to do this review because I've been wanting to do more vintage collection Star Wars stuff because it's something that I am actively collecting. Maybe not as much as I want to, but at least enough that I feel like if I'm going to get these figures, I'm gonna want to do a review on them. So here we are. All that said, here we have the Death Watch Trooper that released earlier this year. You can see the size difference and everything. He is a little bit taller than the new one over here on the right. The body shows a little bit more. The armor is completely different. Even the legs are actually different. The one on the left are a bit longer. So completely different body mold. They're not sharing the same thing at all. Aside from maybe the jetpacks. Haven't actually taken a close look to them. But I want to say the jetpacks are essentially the same. So that would mean if I can just do that and do that, then yeah, they're essentially the same. So the only thing really repeating on these figures are the jetpacks themselves. I would do a head swap, but I feel like there's no point even for customizing because, well, there's no real difference. There's no difference. So no point in actually swapping heads here. But yeah, honestly, if I had to choose between these two, if you're in the store and you see these two, kind of lean towards this guy because I really like the paint apps on him. I really like the design on him a little bit more than him. I actually do have a couple of this guy. Kind of want to get a few more and repaint some of them just because I want an army that isn't all the same color. That's just me. Anyways, here he is next to a Marine from Halo and Master Chief. You can see the size difference between him and the Marine isn't too much. The Marine is just a little bit taller, but again, not by much. Master Chief, obviously a lot bigger. They do mix in well, and I do like that because it just gives me so many ideas for photos. Assuming Instagram stops shadow banning me for posting photos of action figures. I don't know why they keep doing that, but it happens. It's weird and annoying. And here he is next to a Fortnite figure and a G.I. Joe Duke. You can see G.I. Joe's a little bit bigger, but not too far off. And with the Fortnite stuff, they're usually... They run a little bit too big, in my opinion. But for someone like this who has kind of his face covered, has a little bit of a mask and everything, I think it's okay to say he's just a tall person. But then almost every figure in the Fortnite line would be a tall person compared to any of the Star Wars figures who do seem to run smaller than most 3 3/4 inch lines. Kind of like the Joey Toy line, which again runs a little bit bigger than the Star Wars figures, but looks amazing next to it. There are some new ones coming out this month that look really good. One of them has like a you can definitely see like Mandalorian clone trooper inspired helmet. Hoping to pick those ones up soon, do a review on them. And yeah, more Joy Toy stuff in the future, hopefully. It's just getting them because they're a little bit more money than your average 3 3/4 inch figures, but they're worth it. Trust me, there's a review up for this guy if you guys want to check it out. And just because here he is next to the Clone Wars, Darth Maul, you can see the size difference. They are bigger than him. Darth Maul is a lot smaller than I would have thought he would be, especially in this line. But yeah, he's not that big of a dude, but he still looks awesome. And it's a great figure. I wish I reviewed him. I got him around his release time, but I never did it. Maybe next time when there's a new one. But yeah, great figure nonetheless. Definitely recommend both of them. And here he is next to some other Mandalorians I own. We have the Ahsoka Reeves figure, the custom Ahsoka Reeves figure that I did do a short on if anyone wants to see it. It's not the greatest paint job, but I mean, I want diversity. Definitely need to pick up more of her just to army build because, well, she's kind of peg warming and why not? Again, I have another one of this guy in storage, so it's starting to fill out. I'm starting to see a lot more of these Mandos around here and I like it. Again, I want to have a nice army of these guys, a nice diverse army, so repaints and everything. But for right now, I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I'm liking the differences in the bodies and everything that none of these figures, aside from obviously the ones that are bought twice here, none of them share the same body or anything yet. Yeah, it's just cool to see. I'm liking this so far, and hopefully by this time next year, maybe I'll have a small army. You never know. Maybe not. Maybe this is the last one I buy for a while. But either way, I'm glad I picked them up. And I do recommend this figure. I think the articulation on it is top-notch, especially for something in the 3 3/4 inch line. I really am enjoying smaller figures. I think that it's funny. I want to say they're the future, but obviously right now 1/12 scale has kind of just taken the world by storm. It's the main thing people want, and I understand why and everything. But when it comes to these Star Wars figures, I feel like 3 3/4 inch is just the perfect size. It was back when they were released, and it still holds true now, especially when it's something you want to be able to mix in with different ships and different playsets and everything. Then this is definitely the right size to do it in because it just makes it cheaper and easier to afford those kind of vehicles for them to be produced, even though nowadays, you know, they can run up a lot more than they did back in the 90s and even further beyond, but it's still something to think about if you are just starting off collecting everything. I could get into a whole thing here, but maybe I'll save that for a separate video. But for now, yes, I recommend this figure. I recommend most of the vintage collection. The newer stuff coming out, I think Hasbro has been doing a great job with, especially with the articulation, especially in the legs. The joints have improved so much, but they still do release some duds, I should say. And yeah, really not much else to say. Other than, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I do want to add really quick, sorry if the audio pops a lot. I don't have a pop filter on this microphone. I'm trying out a completely different microphone that I've had for a while to hopefully fix the audio issues I've had. I tend to move away from the mic that I have set up on my main thing, which is why sometimes the audio goes quiet, goes louder, goes quiet, goes louder because I'm on the left side of the camera and then I'm on the right side of the camera. This one just clips onto my shirt, but I don't have a little filter or anything over it. So again, hopefully it's not popping too bad. If it is popping at all, hopefully it sounds fine. Hopefully I didn't just spend an hour or so filming and have unusable audio. Hopefully everything worked out. But yeah, so anyways, thank you all for watching and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.